Hello, and welcome to the Cardone debates. This time we're going to do it a little bit differently. Usually I'm your host, Dana Howell. Today, Gary is insisting that I participate. So Gary's going to be moderating this one. Gary, come on up.
Hello, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. I've been having great electronic difficulties. If my image is wrong, blame it on me and my electronic lack of prowess. Dana, I want you to do this because this subject needs a balanced perspective. I don't want just a single perspective. I get enough of that from X. I can go into echo chambers all day long. So I'm not the host, though. I'm just moderating. So I'm going to pass back the host hat to you for you to educate us on what we're talking about. Who's going to be our great panelist tonight? Who's in the background making all this work? And that would allow us to buy a little bit of time before everybody gets in the room. Happy Tuesday debate to you.
Thank you, Gary. You sound awesome, actually.
Thank you.
So I don't know.
Amazing how I can go from being miserable to being happy.
Yeah, well, we're all really we make our own decisions on how we should feel, right?
Somebody's been reading philosophy.
Let's bring up our guests. We have a special new guest today. You guys wanted some women.
I think we should wait. If it's new guests, we should make everyone wait.
Okay, who should we bring up first?
One of the girls.
Okay, we only have one other girl. Let's
bring up Eric. Bring up Eric.
All right, Eric. Eric, you come up first.
There's the girl.
Guys.
Thanks for coming back again.
Of course. Always happy to have these fun debates that turn into awesome conversations.
So, Eric, tell us about your background a little bit and where we can find you online. Where can people follow you?
Sure, yeah. Dana. I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur, so background in all kinds of stuff from alternative finance to quantum biology. I'm a off-grid Bitcoin miner now, so I've kind of transitioned there. You can find me on X at EA_Rice, or you can find me on YouTube at The Rice Report and Rumble and Spotify and iHeartRadio under The Rice Report, if they allow me to stay on much longer.
Cool.
Pay the toll fee, man. Pay the toll fee.
Yeah, you have to these days.
There's a reason why we wanted you for this debate. So you guys should check out his
What is that reason, by the way? Why did we want Eric in particular? Because you went out of your way to say, hey, Eric needs to be a part of this panel. Why is that?
Eric is very articulate, first of all. Second of all, his background is more traditional. So it allows for he has a very strong resolve in what he talks about. He's done a lot of research. He can back it up. And actually, I do agree with a lot of what he talks about. It's going to be very difficult to argue you, but I'm going to do my best.
So you're telling the audience what side of this debate you're taking? What side are you taking, Dan?
Well, first I have to describe what exactly we're debating.
Great.
So,
agreed. You continue with the guests because I might sidetrack you.
Yeah. Dustin, we're going to bring Dustin up next because we got to leave our new one for last. Dustin, what's up?
Yo, I love that we're starting the value of the patriarchy debate with Gary bossing you around, Dana. You really could put up with that.
Gary likes to boss me around. He can't help it. It's in his nature. What do you do?
As we will show, as God intended it to be.
Oh, okay. We're getting religious already. Thank you for blessing us with your presence. Dustin joined 1 minute before.
You're welcome.
Timely. Someone just said we all got the black shirt memo.
Black shirt memo, by the way.
We did. We're all in.
Actually,
but you have words on it.
No, all of us but one. Okay. Dustin, can you tell us about your background?
We never tell the newbie, though. We never tell the newbie what to wear. We want them awkward, okay? This is the way.
We did not bully the newbie.
This is the way. No. You need to understand. Boomers are bullies, okay? Like we are just the assholes of life, and we've done nothing but make extreme wealth and stupid rules so that you youngsters would suffer. Literally, I wake up every morning since I was like 18. How can I make the generation or beneath me completely miserable? So miserable that they revolt.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's working.
Exactly.
Does that bring you joy?
So
No.
I'm Team Revolt over here. My background really, like, I cut my teeth in politics. One of the 2 or 3 most influential people in the Tea Party movement. I was the fixer for Steve Bannon at Breitbart when he took over the Trump campaign in 2016. I'm the founder of We Build the Wall. I was the lead organizer of what everybody knows as January 6th. And I was debanked 2 months before the 2020 election. And that led me into crypto, where I currently dominate on all kinds of awesome projects.
Love it.
Awesome, Dustin.
Dominate.
Thank you. Our last guest, Leah
Uh-oh.
Cheney. Send Leah up, please.
Leah.
Leah.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you for joining. Leah, my friend Leah is a former marriage counselor and now trader and trader coach.
Trading
She's a
coach,
trading
yes.
coach.
Leah, are you still married?
Oh, yes, I am.
Well, before or after you became a counselor?
I've been 10 years married, so right when I was studying to become one.
So, so it helped.
Right when I was.
That's awesome.
I think so. I really think so. Well, nice. Thanks guys for having me. I'm really excited to discuss how to make this world a better place.
Wow.
Well, I'm blessed to have Leah on my team this time. So I've snagged her to really blaze the way on this. She's actually done a lot of research in what we're about to discuss. So first, I'm going to try to articulate what exactly we're arguing, and I'm putting you on your teams. Leah is on my team. Dustin, you are teamed with Eric. We will be arguing whether men should come first, they're number one, women should follow suit, no matter what. Leah and I are arguing it's a little more complicated than that, and there's a lot of reasons why. So in other words, what actually makes the longevity of a relationship last? Is it these traditional values, or is it a little bit nuanced?
Right. Let's get to it. I'm excited.
So, Leah, before we start, tell us a little bit about your doctorate that you got at Cambridge. You did a research paper on this very thing. Can you give us a little bit of background so we have some more context?
Yeah, so it was Columbia University, now very hated school, but that's where I went for my master's. And I did a thesis where I conducted a study on power in relationships. And I was very curious back then to find out what gives power to men and women in relationships and what do they believe gives them power. And what I learned was very interesting. When I asked hundreds of people what they think gives them power, they said it's money or beauty. But when I gave them 33 different kinds of power, they chose completely differently. So what we found out was the number one power for an individual in a relationship is self-esteem. If you're self-confident, it doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how pretty or not pretty you are. If you're self-confident in the right way, of course. A lot of people confuse self-confidence with control and having a big ego, which is not self-confidence. Then you are good to go and you have a peaceful relationship because you are feeling comfortable in your own skin. So we can get deeper into this. And then what we later learned on case studies of couples that were married, they were together in different range of times. The most important for a couple is the power balance, because oftentimes marriage conflicts happen because there is an imbalance of power. So this is something we can deeper into. And again, the power doesn't mean that one party has money, the other doesn't, and all these like very superficial, obvious things. But there are different ways to balance power that both parties feel safe. And that is very important for longevity of a relationship.
Thank you, Leah. So yes, we'll be discussing what exactly is that balance of power. Is it more traditional way, or is exactly what is it? So Gary, you're going to be hosting. Is that right? You're going to be moderating.
Yes, ma'am.
Um,
I've been instructed by you to do
Yeah.
this. Now, I would just like to make clear with you guys and the audience, genuinely, what are we debating? Are we debating that women, because the way for the audience, the way this started was, it was, are men too soft? Isn't that the way this started, Dana? Was that so we were talking about, hey, are men, where are men? I can't remember exactly, but it
Yeah.
wasn't.
I
what
spoke
we
to Gary
do
on the
is-
phone, Cheney. We've all been speaking about this. And I said, Gary, we want to debate that there's not a lot of strong men. Left. I actually couldn't find anyone who disagreed with that. And not only that, I couldn't find anybody who would take the other side confidently. Not that there's none left. It's just the culture doesn't really instill the right environment to bring that out. And in fact, no one really would argue that. So we changed the description to be more around power balance in relationships, because relationships are about a power balance or imbalance. And what's the best way to navigate that? Leah has specifically done research on this, which made her the perfect guest. And she's followed people over 6 years around, what exactly is the ideal setup for that. I knew that Eric and Dustin would be able to easily take a different perspective based on their background. So there is definitely an element of strong men within this. And in fact, it's kind of the core of this disagreement. But I don't think that it's going to unravel until we get there.
Okay.
And yeah, probably the
Yeah,
debate
no.
ends up into a conversation.
Well,
So-
like we've learned, like the purpose of these guys, we're not here to we're interested in actually making people, not making people, but providing a platform. As boring as that sounds, this was born out of people arguing in spaces, both groups actually making good points, but their emotion is so involved that no one ever gets to actually make their own decision. I don't want to tell you to buy Bitcoin. I want you to get to your own assessment and go, damn, man, I'm having a hard time coming up with how he's wrong. And that's what the purpose. This should be entertainment and education and philosophical. It should make people think. We're not going to hurt ourselves by thinking, for God's sakes. So that's all we're trying to do here. Leah, you were going to say something, and then I say we start. Let's roll into it. Go ahead, Leah. Glad to have you.
I think that first we should identify what is a strong man, and I'm a little bit confused when you guys say that. Okay, men first, women second. In what? In sexuality, in business, in we need to identify this first, what we are actually talking about, and then we can get into the details. And also, what makes a strong man? What do we think that is a strong man? So maybe Eric and Dustin can tell us something what they think is a strong man, and then we can tell our opinion on this.
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, you want to define out parameters as well, because I think that Dustin and I will both follow suit in the same way in saying that a marriage is always a balanced relationship. It's not one-sided in any way. It's just figuring out where that balance comes in. And if we define a strong man, I think that it's kind of the opposite of what most people would think. I think your traditional strong man is conceived as, brutal or violent. This whole propaganda that we've seen for a long time, big, strong, plumber guy comes home and has a beer. That's not a strong man. A strong man is somebody who's patient, somebody who's calm, somebody who is a good teacher to his children, a good lover to his wife, and somebody who along the way will not bend on moral values. And I think that's really where the strong man comes in, is someone who has a solid moral base, which is what attracted their wife to them. And they don't bend on that with whims. So a strong man to me is someone who, of course, physical strength is a part of that. But I think we're talking more emotional, and I think we're talking more value-based. Is what makes a strong husband and a strong father is that rock that the spouse or the children can turn on and rely upon 99.9% of the time to be there for them. And I think that if we look at strong man from a different perspective, we can also see one that does things that men traditionally have done: works, earns money, has value in his community, has respect from his peers. These are all important aspects, in my opinion, of what a strong man truly is. And I think today that gets conflated with wealth, with fame. We oftentimes see people see a strong man has to have a lot of money, has to be very successful, has to be good looking. All these things are nebulous. They're someone else's opinion. So there's going to be 1,000 representations of what a strong man means to the audience out there. But in my perspective, it's really more value based. Can you fix things around the house? Can you move big items? Those are kind of important, and they're certainly there. But the most important thing is, can you move mountains within your family? Can you motivate them? Can you keep the love together? Also by providing strong discipline. I think that's a big aspect of being a strong man, is being disciplined and being a disciplinarian that breeds a generation behind them that comes into the world with the same values, patience, calmness, and discipline. I think those are very important.
Thank you. We've officially started it, Pierce.
I thought I was under the gun already. I was going. I saw my 2-minute clock, and I was at it.
Dana or Leah, I believe it's up to you guys for a response. You get 1 minute. I believe we've agreed on 1 minute, correct?
That's totally perfect.
Or 2.
Yeah, we can have, we have 2
do
minutes.
Do the girls need more time? Do you need more than? We'll give you more.
No, it's fine. English is my fourth language.
He literally can't help himself. Like, it
Yeah,
doesn't matter
that's
what
okay.
position Gary has. It's just, it comes out.
This boomers, huh?
No.
Yeah.
It's
All
just
right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Leah, I think that just before you start on the clock, Cheney, before you start, we're not really going to disagree with you on a lot of the things that Eric said, but Leah and I have been talking about some of the debates that we have had around kids before 40 or after 40. How the dynamic in the household should be, but this is all coming from a man's perspective. So we're going to do our best to throw in some curveballs around, maybe what we're trying to articulate. Because we are going to actually agree a lot on what you just said about, what a strong man is. So Leah, you take it away and then we'll go from there.
Let's do it. So yeah, I think that strong man is a man who is self-confident. And as I already said, that's to me number one priority. He's self-confident in his own skin and he's ready to share power with his wife in the household. It's up to them how they're going to do it. But I really think that the generation right now is really confused. We have a problem. We have a crisis because the traditional roles are gone and we have to get used to the new norm. And I think that men have to understand that women also not oftentimes want to go the traditional route. And the man that is comfortable with his wife to be her own person, to be independent, to do her own thing, and then decide what they want to do together is very important. So that would be my only addition, because I know you guys are very traditional, but I have to add that women were treated like second-class citizens until not very long time ago. And we have to all admit it's a fact. So yeah, that to me is number one priority when I talk about strong man, to be self-confident.
Okay. Dustin, I think it's your shot now.
All right. So wait, real quick. Hey, babe, can you bring me a sandwich? I'm about to show these broads what's up with.
Hey, when she's done, have her bring me a beer, would you?
Yeah, we all need a beer, man.
Sorry,
I'm moderating.
I know when we bring the heat, sometimes I get a little hungry, so I wanted to make sure I had a sandwich ready to go. Strong men. So I think part of the problem is that we denigrate the role that men should play, and they no longer, it destroys their self-confidence because they're told that they're supposed to cater and that the power dynamics have changed and no longer make sense, when the truth of the matter is the erosion of those traditional roles is largely what causes the misery for both men and women, which is men at their best are decisive decision makers. They're leaders and they have control over their empires, and women at their best are supportive in that role and are good at taking direction and are generally submissive to the men in their lives. I
disagree with you, because that's how men made us believe. Men are since agriculture revolution 10,000 years ago, men took charge because they were physically stronger, but it doesn't mean that it should be that way. We are no longer living in a time when we need a physical protection from men. We are no longer living in those times. So this is what men did to control women. And you can read a lot of anthropological studies on this. And they did it for purpose to control female sexuality. Because men, when there was a land and agriculture, you needed the land for basically making money. You wanted to make sure that you're taking care of offspring that's yours. And that's where the whole entire control of women and monogamy and control of their sexuality started, because men did not want to take care of children. They're not their offspring. And that's why they come with this monogamy ideology, and that they are the leaders. I'm sorry to say that, but I'm a leader too. And so is my husband. And I don't want to follow anyone because I'm very independent and I'm extremely good with decision making and making money. So, to each their own, but this should not be the main way to live and go.
Well, I think I'll disagree with the fact that you don't need physical protection anymore. I mean, pretty much any video on X, if you're scrolling X for 45 minutes, you can see that there are assaults everywhere. So physical protection of women is still a thing. Chivalry versus brutality is also a conversation to have, right? So brutally controlling your wife and her sexuality, I don't think that that's even in the aspect of anyone's eye here today. I think what we're looking at is more from a home perspective and a relationship and a family perspective. So I do think there's a physical element to men. We have a lot of weak, soft men in the world. Like, I don't think anyone would argue that. And I think women primarily are attracted to bigger, stronger men, men with more muscle mass than fat. I think that's a very number one attractive for most people. But I think that, I don't disagree with you at all in the fact that this should be a partnership. Relationships are partnerships. I don't think any of us are arguing that our wives should be subservient slaves. But at the same time, I think that we are arguing that there are traditional roles in the home that Dustin eloquently stated have eroded away. And we're looking at societal effects of this that are never ending, from crime to education to, premarital sex to unwanted children, abortion. This stems into many, many different categories.
Yeah, I'll just jump into the issue for me.
Gary, mute your mic's on mute, just so you know.
Right. So I'm willing to take the harder side and lay it out. Now, do I demand sandwiches? You're goddamn right I do. Right? Like, because I'm a hungry guy and I'm busy, and like making sandwiches is very complicated business. But it's crazy to think that we aren't wired differently, which is what, regardless of how it started, or right, like what they taught people in university, where we are now is that men, right, strong men in particular, have to be stoic. They have to be willing to take adversity and deal with it while remaining calm. And women are overwhelmingly more emotional. They are more emotional creatures. And it's not just in hardwire, it's also based on, right, like hormones. And so
it's not true. Anger is
that women aren't more emotional than men.
I think it depends on the guy. I think it depends as well. Okay, go on.
We'll give Dustin 15 or 20 seconds, but let's let Dustin finish, and Leah, if you have a response, awesome.
Wait, did I freeze? Is that what happened?
No.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
Gary is messing up all the technology. He has infected
Gary,
all technology on this platform today.
Gary gave us all a virus. This is what you get. This is what you get.
I will tell you, I think there's a lot of weird shit going on this planet right now. I can't explain it to you, but
anyway, the argument still stands.
Where's Leah at now? Leah ran away.
He lost already. You guys lost. Oh,
I'm here.
So sometimes it freezes and Cheney has to cycle people on and off, but that men and women are different emotionally is the exact same argument the idea that we're the same emotionally is the same kind of ludicrous argument that we're the same physically, which is we are wired to different things. The mother, the child bearer, right, is built to be able to handle those things and those emotions. The men, like do not have those hardwires because we're not the ones who have to carry babies. And it's not to denigrate one role over the other, to recognize the real life differences between the sexes.
Thank you. Look, guys, this is most certainly this is a deeper discussion than I thought when we started. So maybe what we do is we just buy ourselves a little breathing room. One, Cheney can get Leah back up, and then looks like she's reconnecting. But for me, listening to this, I mean, I go into a lot of places like, whoa, we need to slow down here and actually define some areas, because I'm already going like maniacal in my brain, thinking about what some women are saying right now and then what some guys are saying, to the point on, I just want to know, if somebody walks in here with a fucking gun, who's supposed to take over? Is it going to be her or me? Because both of us can't be having a gun, okay, like throwing weapons. I mean, who is instructed to do that? Like, seriously. I mean,
So
I would definitely be throwing.
I hear all this even stuff, and I'm like, yeah, but when the fist fight happens, it's always the guy.
See, it's better than that. So
Yeah.
like in my house, right? Like I'm large, I attract the attention, and she shivs you in the liver, right? So like we've played this scenario out. I attract the attention, she shivs you in the liver. It's a beautiful combination.
And she's got the liver already pre-sorted. My house is a little bit different.
I should have never. I realized after teaching her like how to hit vital organs that it was probably not the smartest call with an emotional woman.
And my family, we both have weapons, so be prepared. She's good on the range. I'm good on the range. We're both kind of there. But if push came to shove, I'm the one pulling the trigger. No question about it. Zero questions.
Well, we're still waiting for Leah to join.
We haven't heard Dana's rebuttal.
She
we get
said,
Dana
Leah said that she's here, but her camera disconnected. She's trying to fix it.
Oh, okay.
And
cool.
she's the one trying to tell us that women should be in charge, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing
camera
that
connected.
her camera failed, Eric.
See, it's really funny
right?
because
no, we're not more emotional. Oh. Dana, what do you have to say to that?
I got distracted because you were.
Oh, here we are trying to focus on the topic, and there's two women can't even get a camera connected or focus on the topic. I think this conversation is over.
Wow. Oh, I didn't know this was a discussion about competence, but we can go there if you want to. I can pull a lot of stats up, men versus women as a whole.
Ordinal
Although you guys are the outliers, you guys are the experts on the outliers. Okay, so Leah and I, it's funny because Leah and I were talking yesterday and today a little bit about this, and we don't disagree as much as you think. But the problem is, okay, I'm on right. Here's the problem. Right now, there's this agreement that women should get married early, have kids, and then be in a situation where they're in a traditional marriage. Most of the time, that doesn't work. And then they're blamed for divorce. And we wonder why. Well, most of them got married early and they're trapped and they can't do anything about it. And they're trying to find purpose in this life that they're in already, but they didn't actually actively choose who they were with. And I'm not saying this is everybody. I'm just saying, like, speaking to friends or people I know, right? This is the reality. So if two people were actually more independent when they maybe they had a time, right, where they were more independent, and then they were two whole people, like what Nietzsche talked about. This is his whole idea of like the whole new marriage. I mean, he was a very anti-women guy. Then the idea would be more around that you're choosing to be with each other, then you have to be. And that power imbalance can sometimes lead to a situation where the passion dies and you also have resentment on both ends. And women are then blamed for breaking up the marriage when the reality was this was a disaster in the making.
So
go ahead, Dustin. Seems like you have a response.
So right. And again, I struggle with this because I am obviously exceptionally blessed. But I think part of this gets to being around expectations and what is and isn't realistic expectations. The big part of the problem is that we have a world that tells everybody they can be anything that they want at any point that they want to be it. And the truth of the matter is that while you're right, the situation doesn't work in every case, and it gets worse. Like there's lots of issues. I think that it is undeniable that women would generally be happier if they had settled down earlier and raised kids. I think in the same degree that it's, in my opinion, completely and totally undeniable that a child, like, it does the best. Now, that doesn't mean that they can't do well or that they do terribly if not, but that generally speaking, it's best that child has active relationships with both of their parents. The man, like the dad and the mom, are both involved. And so, like, the frustrating thing is that I think that there's this idea with a lot of young people that they want the Disney romance, the Disney love, that somehow that I'm going to be swept off my feet and love is going to look the same 15 years in that it did during the honeymoon phase. And I think it's that kind of unrealistic expectation of what actually, like, the actual grind of settling down with somebody that you're going to be with forever, right? What that actually looks like, I think, is dramatically different than what society has told people to expect.
Just for the audience to know, the comments that are coming in are quite interesting. Jason Williams, for one, is saying, "Bro, how about we stay in real life?" We're gonna continue this. Hopefully, Leah can join, but we're going to continue this. But we're also going to have a change a little bit later. I want to discuss another topic, I think, with these four people. If you guys, we might just go a few minutes longer than we normally do. Dana, do you want to hold up your team's in, or does Leah want to speak? If we don't, you know, if she,
I could just call her in and put her on speaker on my phone. But yeah, I'm just talking to her now. She's trying to come back in.
Well, when you guys get your panties all sorted out, let us know, and we'll go to Eric in the meantime.
It's literally unbelievable. Like, you can't. You know what? I'm going to say something.
Go ahead.
To Dustin's point about being unrealistic, right? It's not a fairy tale.
Hey, Dana, let me ask you a question. If I would have,
sorry, Cheney.
If I speak to guys
Gary
and
first.
go, "Hey, you guys go get your panties together," it seems like you're on your period. And I speak to the guys exactly like that. They know too. Oh, Gary absolutely says that shit. And worse too. Why would I treat you different? Like, if
I don't think that you should, but I'm going to give you a hard time for it.
But you just said, "Oh, wow, I can't believe he just said that." I'm going to
give you a hard time for it.
Like this. In fact, I think I'm too
I know.
soft
And Dustin pulls your leg back. Yeah. He does. Girls are going to also do the same exact thing when you start doing your thing.
But no, I think the fairy tale discussion.
They're doing my thing, though. They're not doing their thing. See, that's the problem.
Dana, I'd love to hear what you think about the Disney expectation, like the fairy tale expectations that a lot, like, women have. Men too.
Well, I think I got to tell you, I think we're on the wrong debate. I think the real debate here, based on what the moderator's hearing, and I would love it from the audience. This makes me think of what Jason said. The real one is, are men too weak and women too strong? Like,
okay, we can do that.
That's where the conflict, everybody's going, "God, I can't believe you said that." I treat everyone like this. So are men, like, maybe that's a better topic. Also, are we talking about a marriage? Or are we talking about business and or both of them? That's also a little confusing, because there's one boss on a business, man. There's one boss in an army. And if you have two, there's one boss on a captain on a ship. And this is, to me, the confusing part. Every time I've interconnected these two worlds, it doesn't work for me, because it requires me not to be the captain in areas that I am most certainly the captain. And I think we just don't have enough fucking captains.
I couldn't agree more.
People that are fucking sailors going, "I'm a captain." Like, what? Why do most women tell me when they're in my car where to go? Like, I already got a fucking GPS. Okay.
Thank you, D, for 30 who gave a sticker. for $10. We appreciate you.
Let's go, man. $10.
Appreciate you.
That's a super chat, dude.
Leah, I need my girl. I need her back in here. I just called her to try to see if I could put her on speaker.
Well, you know what a man does when he loses a soldier? He just keeps fighting.
Look, I'm doing my best with all you guys. That's all I can
And
do.
they don't give excuses, Dana. They do not
Dana,
give any
would you like
excuses.
me to
Do I
jump
look like
on
I'm
this
giving
side?
any
You need
excuses?
you need me to help you. You can just ask
I don't
me.
need anything. I don't need anything. I'm going to make a point of what Dustin said.
Dana, do you need my help?
Come on in, Cheney.
Yeah, you can come in,
hate
Cheney.
my
you just said you
avatar-
didn't need anyone's help. Now you
I
need a
don't, but I
woman's
like
help.
Cheney. So
Oh.
I hate my avatar having to take anything that looks like a feminist debate, but the idea of protection really is gone with governments. Men need protection from other men just as much as women need protection from men. So the idea that women are somehow a lesser creature now and we need like someone to lay down our jacket to step over a puddle, the question really is what Gary said, is what came first, the chicken or the egg? Did the men become soft so the women had to become hard, or did the women become so hard that the men didn't know how to protect and provide for them anymore? So
Cheney, very good point. And I just want to make a comment that as soon as Cheney filled in the hole, the problem
Leah's
got
back.
solved. Now we have Leah back.
Hi.
Women are competitive, I
Okay,
must say.
bye.
I think it's an issue of culture. Ever since I
Are
wrote
you
this
sure?
down
Because
earlier.
Jason will, huh? You ready?
Go ahead, Gary. No, you go first.
No. Y'all
You go
got your
first.
team back together. Leah, she was.
I listened to everything you guys said. I just had malfunction with my UBS. So
She did that as a strategy. See, women are very smart. She had to get out, get some intel, and came back.
well, my
in.
husband set this up for me and it doesn't work. So I had to fix it.
Listen to all these excuses. All
Good
these
thing you-
excuses.
it's for real. Anyways, yeah, I heard everything you guys said. I do believe we are turning in the circles and going a little bit black and white here, And I also think that yeah, the society is changing, and I think it's because women wanted to take a little bit of charge of their own lives. And there are many things to blame for this. I understand we have an epidemic of masculinity. There is truly a lot of lonely men. They are feeling hollow. They need women. I do believe in marriage. I think it's a great thing to do. I have some neuroscience research on when we should get married, when is a good time for people, and we can get more into this. But I think that the society started changing because of extreme abuse of women in some ways. Women they had no chance to find jobs. There are still, until now, a lot of jobs that women are not welcomed. Like when you look at interviews of private equity or finance or this kind of industries, why there are no women? A lot of times these kind of companies don't want to hire women because of pregnancy, because of women will be missing work and they will be focused on the children. And then again, like if we would have some prescribed formula that, hey, men have to stay with the kids at home as well, then it wouldn't be this kind of way. So women would be able to find a job. And I think that men also should be taking some sort of a paternal leave, because it's great when men can connect with their children. As a society, we have a lot of work to do. And with the traditional roles, of course, there are certain things that I think men are great with. There are certain things women are great with. But it all boils down to how are we happy and how can we coexist together. And I think that women were having really difficult time until last century, and we got just sick and tired of it. That's why this whole movement started. We want to live our lives. We want to explore. So
when you say movement, you're referring to what?
Movement in the 1920s, we started, we were allowed to vote. Before then, we couldn't. Women until mid last century couldn't have their own bank accounts, right? So we were basically male property. And I know a lot of men like it that way, but I'm assigning this to a low self-esteem, because I think that men, they are self-confident, what I already said, don't mind their women to have money and have power over themselves and their own life. And then they are happy to be with this kind of woman because it's interesting. And also men love challenge. So like, I'm just wondering how a guy who finds a woman who is this good girl, she's going to always do what he says. She's going to be a good wife. He's always going to find her in certain role at home. There's no excitement. How are you actually turned on by this kind of person for 20, 30 years? Like, tell me, where is the excitement? Like, how are you actually able to, I don't know. I'm just curious because honestly, I would be really bored out of my mind.
You know, a
Well,
lot
that's
of
a
people
lot.
like to. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead,
Eric.
Dana. No, go ahead, Dana. You haven't come in as much. I'm
Well,
going to drop a hammer in a minute. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that a lot of people like to blame, you know, women on men's unhappiness, and you guys were talking about earlier. Is the issue that women became too strong, or is it that men became too weak? I think that's completely missing the point, and that actually it's a cultural issue. I mean, ever since the Industrial Revolution, there were men who were trying to find purpose. They were smashing like computers, trying to just do something and be who they're supposed to be, and they were hung by the government. This was in Europe or somewhere. I don't remember. But to say that like women are too strong or they're unhappy now because of that, I just disagree. It just takes a man who's very who follows their own way, who does have that purpose, for us to follow them. That's really the core of this argument, is that it's not a matter of the women being the way they are. It's that the men are they're being castrated, and it's not fully their fault. They have a lack of purpose. They have a nice car. They have a good job, and yet there's studies that show 80% of men who are very successful, they are completely depressed. They're killing themselves. They have no will to live. Then they get divorced. And instead of taking that divorce or firing of their business and making it part of a tribalism, like what used to be done and back in the day when anything bad happened, and take it and turn it into something beautiful, sharpen their knife, as you say, turn it into a diamond, they blame the women. And I think that's a shame, because men want to be givers, they want to be providers, yet they don't want to take the risk to do it. And then they want to blame the women when it doesn't work out. And I think it makes both people very unhappy and living in fear. And then it's just Tuesday as usual.
Tuesday as
Dustin
usual.
or Eric?
Yeah, Dustin, can I take this one?
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, we're rewinding back in time into the minds and hearts of women in the 1920s. Okay, let's look back at that time. I've spoken to many people in that era, many women at that era, who said that life was better, society was better, and happiness was more abundant. So there is a traditional role of mother, father, child, siblings, all that kind of stuff. Now let's look back at things and look at history in the right way. I don't know when it started. I think it was around 1970 something. The phrase happy wife, happy life came into this massive amount of movement. You know, how has that worked out for society since then? We've pretty much fallen apart since 1970, right? Happy wife, happy life. Men become subservient to women. That's a proven sociological experiment that doesn't work out. Feminism, women wanting to get to work. You know, I wasn't there in 1894 or in 1921, and women had to go to work. That's where the women's movement started, was during wars. When the men were off fighting wars, the women were building artillery. They had to work. Whether they wanted to or not was a different discussion. So if we're going to go back to 1920 to make a relevant statement about today, we have to be relevant about the statements. Women do want to go to work today. Work is a different workplace. I have no problem with women working. My wife works. We love to work. The way we run our family is like the way we'd run a business. I'm the CEO. She's the CFO. I don't pay any bills. I bring money in and she cuts checks to all of our vendors. That's prevalent in the world, by the way. I think 80% of bills paid in households are paid by the women. They actually cut the checks and make the payments and set up online bill pay. But we've watched two correlating and completely asymmetric campaigns being run against society since let's just be Bitcoiners here and go back to 1913, the invention of the Federal Reserve. In order to have a Federal Reserve, we had to have more taxation. So women were convinced by sociological campaigns that they must work and be independent because the country needed more tax revenue. That's why the feminist movement truly started 100% by the Rockefeller Foundation. So women have been convinced that them working and being equal with men is a good thing. That's one campaign. So we have the women have been masculated over time. They have become more like men. I'll be the breadwinner. And then you have this other campaign of toxic masculinity, right? So we have this toxic masculine where it's toxically masculine for little boys to wrestle. That's what we all did. That's what every male has done in 10,000 years of human existence. So we've actually had these two campaigns running together to make women more like men and men more like women. And it's not working out. And there's no correlation between success of those campaigns and happiness in society. Happiness is at an all-time low currently. Women have more positions of power than ever before. You can look at mayoral candidates, mayors around the country, but let's just look at one stat that matters the most to me in this equation. Kids raised by single mothers, which is something I've been talking about for 10 years. About 50% of our males are raised by a single mom. That shows two things. Number one, weak men who leave their family, number one. And number two, it shows that we have women who are forced into or thrust into being a dual player. They have to play mom and dad. Now, how does that work out? 50% of American men are raised by single mothers. God bless those mothers, by the way. You are incredible human beings. It's not a knock on you. But the end result on the male side is like a 70% higher chance of being incarcerated, a 50% higher chance of drug use and alcohol abuse. On the women's side, you have more promiscuity, you have more depression, you have all these things. So we can argue who's better, men or women, all we want. But the problem here is the family unit and the dynamics within the family unit. If you're in a relationship, you should be in it because you love the other person unconditionally, that they are your person of choice to ride or die with through the rest of your life. And there are certain roles that they're good at and certain roles that you're good at. But inherently, gender or genetics play a major role in that. Men are the ones who take the slings and arrows, and women have traditionally been the ones who support them after battle. Now, I just love to look at things, and I look at things very black and white. I don't know who invented happy wife, happy life, but that is not working out for men. And we're talking about men blaming women for divorce. 80% of divorces are filed by the woman. So divorce isn't a blame game. Divorce is a failure of communication most of the time, a loss of love, a growing away from each other. There's many different dynamics. So you could bring those up, but it is statistically accurate right now that about 80% of divorces are being filed by women who want their independence from the man. So again, I just go back to that dynamic of 50% of our children are being raised by a single mother, and those results speak for themselves, that it shows weak men and women who are thrust in positions that they don't belong in. I think those are two very accurate stats to bank on.
Yeah, well, this is interesting now. We're getting places. I think we're getting some friction here. Hopefully the audience is getting jacked up. Is the audience getting jacked up? We'd like to hear some comments from the audience as to where this is going and what both girls and boys think related to this topic. I think the next person to go is Dana, I believe. Leah went. Yeah, Dana.
Okay, so Eric, here's the thing. We're not actually arguing for feminism. Women do want to follow a man. It takes a certain man for us to do that. We do not believe that, I'll speak for myself because Leah may correct me, but men shouldn't be subservient to women. They should be worth following. And unfortunately, as long as they live in a world where they're professional victims, it makes it very difficult for us to do that. Therefore, we've thrust ourselves into the work world because that's what gives us security, because that is what we need. If men think that they want comfort, but they don't, because I have tons of studies that show they don't want necessarily to know 100% that everything is going to be the same tomorrow. They want to feel like they're growing and they're with somebody who is also growing. Every philosopher, I couldn't find one philosopher that disagreed with this, even the ones that actually don't really like women. Carl Jung said that men need a sacred duty, not a job. They need something worth bleeding for. And this is the type of the masculine archetype that our culture is really against. And they put them in these work environments, tell them how to behave, and then get angry when things don't work out in the way that that they should. They become depressed and then think that it's because of the woman. Well, yeah, 80% of divorces are filed by women because they probably didn't want to be with him in the first place. And frankly, the man didn't either, but
Yeah.
they felt like they were stuck and they didn't want to lose their wealth. And if the man was actually strong enough, he would do everything he could to make sure that the woman was taken care of, and she stayed by choice, not because she had to. Because if you do that, then you're actually creating a dynamic that is for the long term, not this short term statistics, one that can be argued by statistics.
Gary, you're muted.
Really.
I said, thank you, Dana. Dustin.
Oh, you're welcome.
So Dana, I parts of that were really on point and very relatable. Parts of it, though, also bleed into a lot of what the problem is. So, right, we have this toxic incel world, right, that's filling the gap for men who are trying to figure out what it means to be leaders, and they're teaching them terrible habits. And part of it, though, is that women are also being taught that they need to find somebody who's already established, who can take care of them, that is already wealthy. And so the thing is, great men are shaped by great women behind the scenes, right? So like great men who accomplish great things are usually backed up and supported behind the scenes so that they can focus on whatever the task, and like in as far as business or achievement, like it takes like a team in order to accomplish those things. And so like a big part of the issue that I see is that, again, the idea like men are responsive to women's needs, right? Like men want to be sent on missions. They want to make the women in their lives happy, right? That power with the women allows the women to help shape the men into what like they're looking for. And it requires a level of commitment that's really difficult, especially because society generally right now has women warped about what they should expect from a man and men warped what they should expect from a woman. And we have this insane level like gap now that we've got divergent realities and both sides don't know how to see like how the world is. I do not envy anybody who's in the dating pool right now. And I sometimes question though. I will say this. Sometimes I question whether or not like that's like an online psyop, right? Like it's so toxic the way I see like single people talk about the other sex that I often wonder is that like purposely being put out there to drive us away from each other?
I think it is. Yeah.
Population control, man.
100%.
I 100% think it is. It's not like I don't see. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who said that she was talking to her friend who was really into this girl, and he said the only issue is I don't know. He said something about his friend is like doing this weird pickup stuff, and he said something like, "Oh, it's just this weird virus going around in the U.S. Like it's just gonna go away," which is true. I mean, this is not what I'm seeing in person, but online it just seems like people are doing really weird stuff. And including this Dustin, like women are told that they need to be with someone established. I was never told that. Like, and in fact, anyone that I had dated in the past wasn't, and they ended up being very well off. But it's not when we started. It's because they were, they were hard workers. Like this is part of the culture that we're being told that women are superficial. They only want these sorts of things. And then, men are, they shouldn't get married because women are going to take them for everything that they're worth, that they don't actually really care about them. And they're very opportunistic. Like these aren't even true facts. Like this isn't what I experienced with my grandparents or whatever it is. And yeah, like I think a big issue is lack of purpose. Yeah, it's a psyop.
Right. So the psyop to me is this, and this I see this all the time, right? Which is men, right? From the men's side, everybody like listen, finding a like partner and like dating is not like an exact science, right? Like, and everybody has bad experiences, almost everybody, right? Like nobody just figures it out on the first get-go, but they're taking these bad experiences and then like we're putting broad generalizations on everybody as a result. So like, all women are go right. They're all hoes and they're all good. You can't find loyal women. They'll just like go to like richer person. And then on the women's side, right? Like the you guys are also affected by the same, like men are just terrible, right? Like the whole like misandrist man hating stuff. It goes both ways. The issue is these broad generalizations just aren't real, right? That you will find people who break all of those molds, and you're going to have to if you don't want to like marry a robot. And so, right, like you're
which you can do now, Dustin. You can marry a robot now if you want to.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, you can do that.
Leah said something earlier about how boring it would be to be with the same person, right?
No. She
did not say that.
No,
She
no,
did
but-
I did not say that. Well, that is another topic we can discuss
That's why you
another
gotta
time.
record men. You gotta
Somebody
record
whose
what
whole
they're
world was just controlled at home, right? That would eventually get boring. Imagine how awful it would be, like, right? Like after, like, oh, it always does exactly what I want, however I want it to. Like, how effing terrible. And I think people are trapping themselves with that. Like, you have to experience some of this stuff, but part of it also is like the availability of the dating pool now, right? So like for men, there's another place where it's different from women and men. Women overwhelmingly, if they want to go and be with somebody else, they have a lot more options that way.
Yeah.
Men, right? Like not the same way. And obviously that's reflected in all of the like online dating apps and those stats that have come out, right? But the access to basically a global dating pool also makes it really difficult because of the grass is always greener syndrome, right? So
Social media contributes to that a lot. I will blame that in the last 10 years. But we are discussing many topics. But first to go to this dating pool, 80% of women want 20% of men. And we are here very hypocritical, women and men, because men are crying lonely. They feel hollow. They don't have fulfillment in life, but they don't want to marry because they don't want to give up their money afterwards. I think that if you live with someone 10, 20 years and you build something together, even if the wife stays at home with the children, she deserves to have the money in case of sadly divorce, right? That's the first my comment to it. So men shouldn't be worried of this. Second thing, women are also hypocritical because they want to be emancipated. They want to have jobs and be paid the same as men. But then in the same time, they don't want to contribute the same way as men. And they want to find men who has even more money. So it's becoming very difficult. I think that we as humans should put less conditions on each other and go with the flow, what suits our personality and how we want to be happy. And I think that also just be less, be more, what I was going to, sorry guys, I lost the thought. Oh my God, this is really annoying. But I think that we should have realistic expectations. That's what I was going to say. We cannot look at social media and expect everyone to be rich and beautiful and perfect, because perfection does not exist. And this is what I tell to everyone. We're going to have problems. We are humans. We're going to make mistakes. And I think that social media really ruined it for us in the last decade. So less of that and more realistic would be a good way to start, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that the world right now is divided between fantasy and reality, and there's very few people living in reality. So you have fantasy at your fingertips, easily deliverable fantasy, a perfect woman, a perfect man, an idea, an ideal. And at the same time, we don't value hard work, and there's nothing more important to a relationship than hard work. I think people look at relationships that they see on reality shows. Like think of our society today. Everything is designed around judging other people, right? The singing contest or whatever it may be, it's all judging. And then these reality shows, like my wife loves these things. She loves the Paradise Island or whatever they are. I watch about 6 minutes of them. I get disgusted by it, because at the end of the day, what it is all these beautiful people get together and then they're supposed to fall in love and get married, but they went through zero adversity. I met my wife when I had absolutely nothing. We were young. And we got married because we loved each other. And we determined that when we got married, we are going to figure this out. That's it. We're going to figure it out. Whatever role we need to play to get it done, just like a business would do to survive, we're going to figure it out together. But we don't value that hard work. The best parts of relationships are not the roses and the proposal. Those are like the beginning phases. The best parts of the relationship are when your spouse is sick and you can take care of them, or you're sick and they take care of you, or the difficulties and financial challenges that you go through and you figure it out. But we went from a generation of people that worked really hard at everything, and now we have a generation of people who've been handed everything. So if you're handed everything in life, you get a participation trophy, you get to wear a dress at school, whatever it is that you're just being handed. We have forgotten to actually understand that relationships are actually more advantageous to your soul when there's hard work behind them. So we have a lot of people who go through adversity. They just get divorced, they quit, they give up, as opposed to, you know, going back to biblical values or understanding your faith and these things that are really important in my life. That's what makes our relationship work really well. We're both strong people of faith, and we live by those virtues. And I will say this over and over again to young people when they're meeting new people in their life that they're getting serious with. We have a society that tells you to find people who like the same things you do. That's completely wrong. When you're looking for a spouse or a significant other, they have to despise the same things that you do, right? They can't tolerate the immorality or value systems that you just cannot possibly go with. So when you build your value systems on actual values, like we can't stand lying, we won't let our kids lie, we catch them lying all the time. I mean, that was part of their childhood. Now they're openly too honest with us at certain points. But that was where we came together. We didn't like the same movies. We just didn't like the same type of mistreatment or value system in the world. So hard work, I think, is at the point of this that we have lost that. We think hard work involves going to an office or whatever it is all day. That doesn't end. Great relationships are a lot of work, and there are a lot of trust, and there are a lot of support from both sides. You have to support your wife just the same way she supports you. That's fundamental. And at the same time, you got to let her get emotional while you hold it in sometimes, and then occasionally let it loose. But hard work is at the root of that. It's too easy today. You can swipe left or right and find somebody to hook up with tonight. There's no reason to have a relationship. Leo, you hit it on the head. 80% of the women are chasing 20% of the men. 50% of males at the age of 25 are still virgins today. That is astounding to me. That's just nuts. So yeah, we're discussing not necessarily the four people on this panel and our views, but really society at large. And I think society at large has lost the value of hard work in a relationship.
Yeah. I do believe that people just don't want to do the work in relationships. And I think it's truly find someone you really love, as you said. That's very important. People oftentimes marry for the wrong reasons. They marry because they feel the pressure to, I must have children, I must marry. And then they end up with someone they don't connect with. I mean, I worked as a marriage counselor. I spoke to thousands of couples, and I heard absolutely horror stories of people being together for decades and have sex once a year, if so. I mean, it's crucial as food and water is to have sex when you're married. I mean, I think it's our duty to have sex with your partner when you're married, unless you're ill. We shouldn't be depriving our partners of that, but a lot of people do that for whatever reasons. You know, so I hear a lot of this sad stories. So that's why I always believe it's important to rather wait than marry someone wrong. But then again, you know, I am a believer of having some sort of a stability before you have children, also from just the perspective of neuroscience, that most of men are not emotionally developed by the age of 25, 26. And sometimes it's even going until 30s. So our brain is not emotionally adult until almost 30. So I think that we can make really poor decisions before. And then one day we wake up and we have children, they are teenagers or they're grown, and then we want to divorce. So we have a really high divorce rate. And again, we are not ready to work. So I think waiting for someone who we connect with, marry, have children, and then really work through problems. Not just like, okay, I'm gone because I can find someone else, because it's not that easy to find someone else you really connect with. Of course, one night stand is easy, but it's not going to fulfill you.
Agreed.
This
Well
is
said,
a
Leah.
fascinating debate. I'm finding myself nervous that I'm not participating, but I chose to be the moderator. I would love to have some input, and maybe we'll do later. But
Gary, put in your input.
we'll go. But
Let's hear your input.
I don't want to. Well, Dustin,
Yeah, let's hear it.
Go ahead and respond to Leah, and then I might. Go ahead and respond. I will. I'm making notes. I will.
So we've heard a lot about, right? So again, I think part of what really stemmed this as a topic is that everyone's looking for a scapegoat about why certain things are the way they are. And I think it starts with wrestling with realities versus unquantifiable nonsense about equality and fairness, etc. So like Jen and I, funny enough, people don't know this anymore, but Jen has a women's studies degree, and it took me years to undo that brainwashing. Like, no, I'm not even joking, right? It took years for me to undo the brainwashing of like of what the feminists at college taught her about how things in the world actually works. And so grounding ourselves in reality is the key, right? And these concepts of what things are, what they are in a large, right, in a large respect. It's funny because I was thinking earlier, I think when Leah was talking, Gary in one of these debates pointed something out that's 100% accurate, right? Which is if he saw somebody who was married and kids when he was like cutting like in business, he would target those people because there's no way they could outwork him. That he would go harder than they would, that they were vulnerable in that way. And that's a reality, right? And so the brutal truth is that by selling people the fairy tale of that everybody can work and all men and women should do the same jobs and we're wired the same way and there's no real essential difference between us, I think is what leads to like the all of this stuff we're talking about, the division of men and women, the problems that like with marriage, the divergence of the sexes away from each other. I think those are the symptoms. I think the disease comes to the unwillingness to recognize some of the realities that was pushed by academics and the feminist movement.
So I actually agree with you, Dustin. I think that the feminist movement in schools, it's very bad. And it kind of distracts like the main problem. And when we were talking about being realistic earlier, I was just looking at my notes. I wrote that down because I think that, you know, superficiality will find you. So if you are superficial, then that's what you attract. So wherever you go, there you are. For whatever reason, I end up finding the right people for me. They find me, my closest friends. I mean, and I found this, I wrote this quote down from, I've tried to read Nietzsche in the past. It's so complicated for me, but this quote I liked, it made sense to me. He said, become who you are, the rest, the right relationships, the real connections will follow, not because you needed them, but because you earned them. Then it's about the courage to live it. So yeah, I mean, we can draw, you know, conclusions about what's wrong with culture and, you know, whatever else, like there's all this stuff wrong, but you know, men and women are not equal. They're not the same. And I think what Leah and I were trying to argue is that women need to choose to be dependent. And when they do, if say they have kids or whatever it is, then it's more, it's real. It's not based off of need. It's based off of want. And that sets up a much different setup than, you know, we're just going to follow these traditional rules because this is the right thing to do.
Well,
and we're not going to get divorced because it's the right thing to do. And also, everything's going to be perfect. And I mean, that's not true either. Like there's always risk in everything.
I love that. And I think everyone would agree. Become a man who's worth following and worth attracting a partner. And like, right, like really striving towards that. And for the men, beware a lot of the, I can't tell you how many of these man or women hating like incel manosphere nerds are gays who hate women. Like just so you are fully aware, like a lot of those dudes are straight up gays who hate women, who are trying to give like men advice about how to be women. And shockingly, if you treat women like shit because you think that's what they want, you will only attract women who have all kinds of it. Like it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy for the men too. So like, focus on yourself, build your value up, and you will attract a good person. I think it goes both ways. And I do think that what we will see a pushback from all this stuff. Right. Like I think things come along at some point and it all makes sense. So like, I have hope out there, even for the youngins.
Yeah, you know how they say respect is earned, not asked for. So I do believe that, as you said, focusing on your own life, growing, becoming a better version of yourself, and then you attract the good people. And men are definitely not the same as women. I've wrote a book about it. I spent years researching the differences between men and women from perspective of hormones, neuroscience, brain. I even taught, are our brains different? How are they different? So yeah, we are completely different, right? And that's very well known. I just think that this whole thing boils down to respect and to appreciating the other person, to let them be their own human. And if it works, whatever way it works for everyone, it's fine. You know, as Eric said, you know, sometimes the women want to be caretakers and have children and be at home. God bless them. I mean, we need these women. If we wouldn't have these women, we would be gone as humanity, right? I totally appreciate them, because being a mother is one of the hardest things to do. No, but if the woman chooses a career over children, it's also fine. We should let these women to do what they want to do, what fulfills them. I don't think we should be prescribing people what is right and what is wrong. So again, that was just all I wanted to say. And we already knew with Dana that this is going to be more a discussion than trying to argue, because you guys are all great and have great ideas. And I think we agree on more things than we actually previously taught.
Yeah, and I'll throw in one thing here, because it's pretty obvious to see the attack on men. Even women have noticed the attack on masculinity. There is an attack on women. And if you look at things from a spiritual perspective, women are the gatekeepers between heaven and earth. Men can't have babies. They are literally attacking women who bring souls from heaven to earth.
Yeah.
There is nothing more precious on planet Earth than that. And men should take that role in society very seriously. And like Dustin was saying, actually, I think it was Dana who said that. Be a man worth following. Be that person. Live your life like you want your eulogy read. If you're living like a soy boy softie right now, that's what people are going to say when you die. There's time to change. Like, being a man doesn't mean you can, you know, go in a boxing ring for 12 rounds. Or it just means standing up for what's right constantly. Having a backbone, being there to understand when you're a support role or you're a leadership role, and leading people in the right direction. Like, our society has heralded the bad guy for 2 decades now, right? Like, we cheer for the bad guy and everything. Everything is confused from a societal standpoint, but from our own individual perspective, I always look at this attack on women that they're trying to turn into men. You're the most precious things on planet Earth. You literally bring souls from heaven into earth for men to protect, so that we can grow. And that is kind of the basic philosophy of life. So this is a great discussion, actually. I haven't disagreed a lot. I took what you were saying earlier, and I just disagreed for disagreement purposes, for entertainment purposes. But I agree with you. I mean, that relationships are so much more important than fame or money. And I just don't think many people really understand that. I think they look at their men look at women as conquests, and women look at men as a comfort or some way of stepping up in society. These are all the wrong views. We're all human beings. We're beautiful souls. You find great souls. You harvest them as much as you can. You keep them as close as you possibly can. You live as great a life as you can. That's kind of it.
It's number one priority for happiness is to have a solid relationship at home and have peaceful home. Truly, the money doesn't matter, because no money in the world is going to create a home that is comfortable and you can feel free and you can enjoy, you know. And if people choose
over 50% of the world lives alone, so we've left out half the people being happy. I'm not sure that's going to be a big winner. Hey, just want to do something, because the audience is asking, who on the panel is married, single, or otherwise?
I have my 21st wedding anniversary in 2 days. So awesome. On the 7th.
I think it's a good question.
I guess, so I say I'm married, but the government doesn't need to know my damn business.
Okay, so you don't have a legal document.
I think common law would apply.
Yeah.
I'm married.
Thank
Happily.
you.
Mhm.
Eric, you have children. Dustin has children. Leah, children or no children?
No,
No
next
children?
year.
Dana?
Nope, no kids, not married.
Okay. Okay. Well, the audience wanted to know that. Look, for me, if you guys would like my input, I think and I'm definitely a male. So, I understand that I have some Louisiana bias here, but I've heard stuff in here that if I would have been on the panel, I would have freaked out. It's scary. I mean, one thing I'm hearing from people is that, and maybe it's because I've had my own. That this is a hard topic for me because I feel like I failed. I mean, like miserably. But the sacred duty thing really hit me. Like men need sacred duty. I actually think that's really true. I think men just need uh, something to go to. I think probably women need that too. I can't speak for women though. I can only speak for the guys. Guys like to get together without any fucking women because we do things really, really, really different. Like I can go fishing with a guy and barely talk to a guy. I go fishing with a girl, dude. It's gonna be like, oh my god, can we please be quiet so we can fish? And that's not always the case, okay? But it is. It's. But the sacred duty thing, and then the what I hear is sacred duty, but I also hear, hey, they need to be able to provide and always doing something. Hey, I'm at the point in my life, I'm fucking tired of earning badges. Like I am done earning badges. 67 years old, got more money than I could possibly want. I'm like, I guess I got to go do something, like just to prove my fucking worth. That's ridiculous. Okay, and it puts the man on he's going to be a soldier, and as long as he's being a soldier, he's relevant. As long as he's doing IPOs and doing another fund and doing another this. I mean, my brother called me today. He's like, hey, that stuff you're doing with the family office is like, he really loves that business. I'm like, wow, I'm not going to spend millions of dollars to build that business up. Why would I do that? It's not to do what, man? How many times does Gary have to bang out $100 million deal before he's like, okay, it's cool. You can put down your weapons now. So I think this balance between, and I notice the ages. See, I think this question about who's married, I'm divorced 3 times. Can't fucking get it right for the life of me. But anyone that ever married me kind of knew, bro, this guy's the man. Like the last thing you need to do is start telling me what to do and how to make money. I will never report, Leah, this will drive Leah crazy. Leah, if you and I were married, I would never ask you for any financial advice whatsoever, unless I really value you as a financial, by the way, I don't ask a financial advisor.
She's a trader, remember?
Yeah, but I'm just trying to make the point, right? Like it isn't in me. I'm not gonna marry or get in bed with someone that knows more about making money. It's not gonna happen. I've got a head start open. First, and the second thing is, I don't give a fuck anymore. Who cares? It's not sexy, dude. I can hang out with Eric at 8 a.m. in the morning and talk finance. I don't want to talk finance with my girl. I want to fuck her, and I want her to fuck me, and I want people to be, let's go party. We got a bunch of money. Go plan a fucking great trip for me, because I hate planning trips. Don't show me the bill. Just spend the money and tell me when to get on the airplane. That is a girl, okay? You do all the stuff over here. And like my ex-wife, I mean, I'm not going to hang out with her anytime in the near future, but like she is a good figure for my girls. She shows them this discipline that I'm not going to show them because I've always been a little crazy, a little like, hey, whatever, man, let's roll. And I have to find somebody that likes that, because if you don't like that, 6 years into being married, I ain't changing. I can't. I will stick a gun in my face. I can't change. I saw on the note here, well, Cardones are a little different. Yeah, well, I don't want to be, I don't like, I don't want to change anyone either. Okay. I didn't want to change this woman. She was like, she shouldn't have gotten married. See, I think we're confusing all types of different topics. We're talking about partnerships, really. If we remove the partnership stuff out of here, I will tell you, having built a bunch of businesses, it is amazing how many women leave the machine at a certain number. This happened early on. Now we got so much grief from HR because they're like, hey, we don't have enough women here. I'm like, excuse me, we have 12 men sitting on the board. Another 2 are women and 2 guys are black. 2 chicks just took $7 million in bonuses and quit. They were going to go take care of their family. And we all got on this train to build a $1 billion business, and we're not done yet. But they left. Now, I didn't see guys doing that. Now, why was that? I did not see guys leaving early. I saw guys grinding it out where after a while, the girls like, fuck this. I think that's probably the right idea. But it's just an observation. I think society is really like, I never saw my mother work a day in her life. Not one day. And I'll tell you, she was the hardest working person because she made squares for me and my brother every day. 3 squares a day. I didn't see her, bouncing around with a bunch of guys. It wasn't her fault that my dad died. I was talking to a cousin of mine today. He just called me out of the blue. I hadn't talked to the guy in 40 years. And we were talking about how crazy Grant and I were. And he didn't want to bring it up. He's like, your dad died when you were 8 years old. It scarred Grant badly. The other kids, that did not happen to. So we went crazy. And so I bring up this thing about my mom did not intend on my dad dying. But I ended up with how many really successful people end up with a single mom raising. It is staggering how many, I'm not saying successful people have to have this, by the way, but it's pretty weird how many non-father parents, kids that just had a single mom, Elon, a ton of them, absolute ton of people. But I think we're asking ourselves almost an impossible thing today. We're so confused as a society on what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? I hear crazy things like, wow, there's no women in Bitcoin. Dude, like, we're not stopping anybody. This glass ceiling bullshit, y'all need to drop it. I've been in 4 industries. I've never seen it. Never seen the glass ceiling. Okay? I've never seen it. Literally never seen it and never created it. In fact, I would beg women, hey, come let's go. We need more. And there's no glass ceiling. In fact, I think if I was a woman, I'm so glad my kids are girls. First off, if you're expecting to be with a guy in 5 years and he's got a job and that means that's his value, no one's going to be happy because he ain't going to have a job. There's not going to be anybody going to we're AI now. And Lily, there are women in Bitcoin, but not a lot. And there's 0 stocks. So really, there are very few people. I'm not even sure women, like you would think a guy like me would be easy to get a fucking chick. It is near impossible. Seriously, okay? I mean, it's a bizarre. So I don't know. You got 1 married, 2 married. Yeah, it's 50-50. See, this is society. And it most certainly is not just America. I mean, the viewpoint I've heard here, if we went to the Middle East and had this conversation, it'd be a lot different.
Yeah, Europe is catching up already too. The divorce rate is really high as well. Almost like the US.
The divorce rate is off the rails. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
like
showing
50%.
me that, I think it's over 50%, but it's showing me that the construct may be a failed construct in the 21st century. Like you can't start looking. I see Eric going, oh, okay, he's getting a little close. But, look, I think we just have to have a conversation. Like, societies fail because you lose society. I mean, we're losing society. This is absolutely happening. We're having a decline in white people being born because we ain't having sex, man. That's the reason you didn't all of a sudden produce a lot of condoms and people are using. We're not having sex. We're dying. That's what happens. You stop having sex and you start dying, right? So we're not replicating. Minimally, we should be worried as a Caucasian species, since all 5 of us are Caucasian. My girls are gonna fucking walk all over me, destroy them, dude. Like, and they're gonna be unhappy. They're gonna be unhappy because they can't find anybody like me. This is all. I had one job. Flawed, not flawed. Hey, make sure they want to do the Clint Eastwood guy. They don't want the, I don't want to be Robin Williams. Dude. Clint Eastwood's good for me. That's the model my kids need to think about. They're going to be okay, even if the guy's a little weird. And he's not going to be perfect. I've never been abusive to a woman. Now, unless you think me saying, hey, stay the fuck out of my finances. Okay. Like, it has nothing to do with you. And it's like, it's not about my finances. It's about our finances. But this is a piece I'm doing. I never tell anybody they can't spend money. Fucking spend it. Let's roll. But I'm not going to tell you what to go buy for kids until I had to. And I didn't want to do any of it. I didn't want to do the schooling. I'm not good at half of it. See that? I'll admit, man, I don't want to do a lot of this shit. And by the way, I do not need a woman to cook me a meal. I can hire a chef.
Exactly.
And everyone in the future. Yeah, but see, Leah, I think that's the wrong answer. Because you should want to fucking cook my meal. You should want to cook me a meal, dude. Why not? I had a date about 2 months ago, 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm making a meal for her. She's like, wow, man, that's cool. I've never been on a date when a guy makes me breakfast. What the fuck is wrong with that? That's cool. The day a woman stops making me a meal, I think that's really sad. Like, really, I can have a chef here. Dana's been here. I could have a chef here every day. Dude, you want to blow intimacy? I just have an entourage around.
Well, this is the resentment that we're talking about. Like, this shouldn't even be. I mean, you should just want to do things for each other, and instead, everyone's keeping score. 1-1. Like, everyone's spending all their time writing it all out. Is it even? That book, and everyone's miserable and they don't have purpose. One of my favorite books.
That's the thing. No one's happy. Even the married people.
And then they blame each other. It's ridiculous.
Eric and Leah can't even walk around and go, hey, look, I'm really having a happy marriage because
I am happy.
Half the people they talk to is like, oh shit, just triggered them. Can't even go to dinner and talk about how happy you are because the
like
other
this
couple's
guy
like,
here.
we're fucked
this guy
up.
in Grappies. This comment, no man wants a strong, independent woman. Yuck.
That's not true. It's not true at all. I know so many men that actually love independent women and it turns them on and they love it. So it's not true.
That's
a lot of. And these men are very rich. They are very self-confident and they love to have a badass at home. So
my wife would be just fine without me. And that's one of the reasons I love her.
Exactly. Because
one of the many.
I do believe this is a big part of long-lasting relationship because you know that she wants to be with you because she doesn't need you, but she loves you.
Yes.
And that is a very important thing. If you have an independent woman who chooses to be with you, oh, hell yeah, you have a great marriage.
Also, what I wanted to say, the reason why I pointed
this out. Got a good business if you can figure out how to do that chemistry.
Yeah.
I'll invest in that business, Leah.
So, it's like my friends are going around, oh, I'm strong, independent woman. Like, no, they had to. Like, it's not like the alternative is they're with somebody they don't like. it's as if they're angry that women found a way to struggle and be okay and not be on the streets, and they're mad about it instead of just I don't know why this is a thing. It's weird.
So that I have seen those comments coming through, right? And that's what I'm talking about as far as like broadly generalizing, like, oh, it's going to be this way no matter what. Women generally are always going. It's crazy talk, but I'll say this: it is undeniable that there is a vacuum of leadership in the world, and if you exhibit even a little, you would be amazed at the people it will attract to you, right? So like the good news, if you're struggling, like right, like to speak to the men here in particular, right? If you exhibit, you build your confidence up and you start showing even a little bit of leadership qualities and that confidence, you would be amazed at how hungry people are for it.
Yeah, I agree with that, dude.
I'm gonna take it.
I think there's other leaders out there. We do create we just throw labels on everybody.
It's a world of judgment. That's what we've
Even the
become.
feminists. I mean, I'll even do it to Leah. See, I'll go, okay, Leah's
I have a
feminist. I know it
question.
immediately.
No,
No,
a
but I
question
mean,
for you.
we need to acknowledge we do it. That's all I think is a good point by Eric. We do this.
I did want to say one more thing, and this actually would probably need its own space, but I think the whole concept of being independent underlies why so many of these relationships fall apart. So like my relationship, I've been with Jen for like 15 years now. We do everything together. We do not have separate lives, right? Like we've never taken separate jobs. Like if I took a job on the campaign trail, she comes on the campaign trail. And right, it allows for trust building in a way that I don't know that like this whole, right, you want to talk about like broken structures. I wanted Eric to do the defense of marriage, but like the structure that I think is broken, right, is this whole concept of like you and your family should build separate lives from one another. Like y'all need to start learning how to build cults like amongst the people you're around and take parts like right come join me in taking like sections of the world over one step at a time and watch how much of this other stuff, when everybody has a purpose and they're working together and you've like built that kind of structure, how much all of this other stuff just becomes noise.
So what you're talking about is having a project together, which is different for everybody. You either have kids or you have a project or whatever. And that's it's part of the glue that binds you. I mean, a lot of people, yeah, they want to maybe not do that. And then it falls apart because you don't have a project. But I agree, that's a problem. It doesn't have to look exactly like that. And also lack of purpose. And people trying to avoid suffering at all costs. When you find your bottom, that's when the doors open. I can't remember who said that, but if you find your bottom and everyone's bottom is different, that's actually when your best life can be created. But if you don't take responsibility for it, and even one of my favorite books by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, he was in the Auschwitz camp. And he said that the men who died first weren't the weakest. They were the ones who had lost why they should live. So they lost the will to live. And, if you don't have that ritual or you don't have that suffering and turn it into something else, then you're your own worst enemy. And you start blowing everything up, your relationships, your work, whatever it is. And culture will lead you to believe that that is actually true, when really it's your fault.
Yeah,
I've lost my audio.
Is he back?
I've lost my audio.
Oh, you're back. We can hear you.
Yes.
This has been a weird session, man.
I can hear
my
you,
whole
Gary.
camera. Y'all can't hear me, right?
No,
I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
I can't hear a word. Anyway, this has been weird. I'm going to just say that I'm right. Everybody else is completely wrong. Oh, by the way, really, really sad for the people that I offended using the F-bomb. My goodness, I'm so sorry for the soft little minds. I have a God, and my God's so big, he's got better things to do than worry about four-letter words. I'm sorry. It's just, I can't get there. But I apologize for offending any sensitive people. Any closing comments, Dana? I mean, what? I don't even think we can do a who won. I think the audience.
We have 3,700 people here. Thanks for
I can't
coming.
hear you,
Remember
so
to
I'm sure whatever
join
you're
us
saying
next
is brilliant.
Tuesday at 5. Yes, and what Gary said is true. So make sure that you come next week. We really appreciate you guys. And remember to give us some topics on Gary's X. I'm going to put up who won anyway. So you guys can remember that Leah and Dana won this. And give us some topics. Do you guys have any closing remarks? Also, remember to follow Leah. I'm sure you guys already follow Eric, Dustin, Gary, but definitely follow Leah because she's awesome. And I like all of your financial advice. Men don't have to listen to you if they don't want to.
Thank you.
But I certainly like your thoughts.
Well, I've been in Bitcoin since 2017, so maybe my financial advice is not that bad.
So they probably should.
Thank you so much. It was really great chatting with you all.
Leah, it was a pleasure having you. I hope you come back. It was nice having like some females on the panel tonight. And I thought, oh, did I freeze? Nope.
No, you're good.
No.
All right. So anyway, we need topics. Listen, we need one of these bloodbath topics. I don't know why can we
immigration?
Find
Great
dude,
topic.
We just have so many nice people, and we always like get to these like nuanced, nice discussions. Like I need to make somebody bleed.
Let's blow it up.
Right?
Justin,
Actually,
who do you want to bring
what
on?
I want?
Bring on some of your people.
2 lawyers.
Leah.
I want this is the next topic. All lawyers are extortionists who should be imprisoned for extortion. Bring it.
I just wanted to add last thing to this conversation because I hadn't had a chance. But why the heck you all think that women can cook? Like, this is driving me crazy. Everyone, I want a woman to cook my dinner. I cannot fucking cook. Just
they
saying.
just
it's like a given that we should cook. I'm like, why should we cook? My mom told me, you be a manager. You're going to manage shit and you're going to be smart and kick ass. And I didn't learn how to cook.
They like being cared for. It's like something to do. It makes them feel, I don't
know.
It's like innate like that.
Really
you can't cook. You do something else.
There is nothing better than like being taken care of. Yeah. Right? Like when you're grinding and focusing, like having something, right? Because like, at least for me, right? Like I can solve really complex shit. I'm a retard when it comes to doing simple tasks. Like I'm legitimately retarded. And
We're
like
the same.
Right, like you want me to solve like some crazy like problem with like your legal structure and the way it interfaces with your user interface. Like, dude, I am your dude. Tying my shoe, however, I might need a little help. Like from time to time, I don't know why the fucking thing won't stay tied. I don't know what this is.
I just had to sit through a 20-minute or an hour and 20-minute dance orientation for my 12-year-old daughter's competitive dancing because my wife wasn't here. She's like, you got to sit in and let me know. I'm like, I came back and she's like, what do I need to know? I'm like, you need to know that you need to email that lady because I didn't listen to a word of it for an hour and 20. I don't understand it. I don't speak girl dance things. I tried as hard as I could, but it didn't work out. You know what my problem always was with those, Eric, is that I also never learned how to hide that I was disinterested. Yeah. Right? And everybody gets so offended because I'm like, I am so fucking bored with what you're saying that I'm already thinking about something else. I've just got to learn to hide it better, I think.
You guys are cute. You guys are funny.
Leah, are you going to come back again? I hope you come back.
Anytime. I can shoot you some fun ideas for conversations too. I love. I'm happy I can talk about something else than trading all day long. Yeah. So I'm really excited. This was just kind of like going back to my old life before I went into finance. So this was really nice.
Good. I'm glad that you'll come back. Yeah, we'll talk about it Also, remember that we do Bitcoin Mondays on Tuesday. Leah, I'm sure you'll come to one of those too.
Oh yeah,
On
I would love
X,
to.
and then Church of I Am on Gary's account, his YouTube Live, Twitter, Rumble,
Love the church.
LinkedIn on Sundays at 10:30 Eastern. Remember to like and subscribe on his account, and we'll see you. Well, I guess on Sunday for Church of I Am. See you
Look,
guys next Tuesday.
It's going to be a big
What,
week.
Dustin?
I said, look, it's going to be a big week.
Oh yeah, I'll be looking out.
Let's go.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.